Give me just a minute to see if we're live on the other end. Let's see. All right. Live on the other end. All right. Let me do this and we'll get started. Y'all give us just 1 second. We're going to start the show. Let me put the link in.
And Kofi, you do this out of a certain spot in your house?
Say what now?
You do this out of a certain spot in your house?
Do I got a certain spot in my house?
That you set this up for?
Oh, yeah. I always sit up, a certain spot in my house.
Okay. You see, I got my little office in my house too, man, a little back office where I do my thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we live, y'all. I'm just sharing it real quick, and I'm finna start the show. I'm just sharing it real quick on my timeline, so everybody can see that we live now. Let's see, do it like that. Okay, we live. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to say peace and Black African power. I want to say ETM Hotep. I want to say Dua Netcha, Fatmu Alafiye, Fatmu Riwi, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Ibe E Gungun, Majuba Ibe E Gungun, Majuba Ibe E Lakba, Majuba Ibe E Lakba, Egungun Kiki Egungun. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to extend honor and praises to the true and living elders out there according to African worldview and from an African perspective. Welcome back to Author's Perspective. We have a great show today. We have a powerful author, a master. I say a master author, but Sean says grand. So excuse me, Sean says grandmaster author. So we have a grandmaster author on the platform today. Before we get started, I have two of the members of Kofi Piesie Research Team on the panel. We'll have a few of my other brothers that may join the panel from the research team later on through this interview. Brother Satep Rob Mariaman, and we got Brother Vasa Nicola on the panel. Y'all got anything before we jump into the show?
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have the brother on the panel, get to know who this brother is. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoy the show. Peace to the brothers on the panel. Peace to the people in the chat. And I'm also excited to announce that we got a new segment in the show that we're going to be trying out on our good brother today. So we got a new segment.
Ready, brothers. I'm ready.
So y'all stay tuned for that, y'all.
And I want to start off by interjecting. I want to say thanks. Thanks for the opportunity to share what I do and to let the world know that I'm not no greater than anyone. If you have an idea and you have passion, you can bring it to reality.
All right. Brother Vasa, you got anything before we jump into it?
That was beautiful, brother. I just want to say peace to the panel and peace to the listening audience, both present and in the future. Like and share the show, and I hope everyone enjoys. And peace, brother. Is it Nickerson?
Yes.
That's right. Yes. Okay. Peace, brother.
All right. Let me share my screen real quick. We have a few little things before we jump into the interview that we always do. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Let me share my screen. Share my screen. All right. Y'all let me know when my screen is sharing.
Yes.
Okay. Let me do this real quick.
Yeah, see the flyer you created.
Yeah.
Beautiful job.
Appreciate it. All right. So today, this is the 5th show of Author's Perspective. And today we'll be interviewing Lafayette, Louisiana, Grandmaster author Keith Nickerson on Author's Perspective today. Real quick, everybody know that follows Kofi Piesie TV, Kofi Piesie Research Team. This is our phrase. We stand by this phrase. We live by this phrase. As I learn, we all learn. Excuse me, I'm grabbing the wrong mouse. And this is a phrase on this particular show that we have called Author Perspective is we must produce more writers. Again, we must produce more writers that look like us. That's very important. All right. And this is a proverb that we use on Author Perspective. Every show we use this African proverb here. It's until the lion learns how to write, every story will glorify the hunter. Meaning this is an African proverb, meaning that until the oppressed class learn how to read, write, or communicate with the world outside, the world will never know their viewpoint. The world will always believe the influential, which is the hunter, who can modify their tales, talk about their glorious, which might just be an illusion. When a hunter goes for a hunt, he can come back and tell 1,000 tales about how bravely he fought the lion and killed him. However, the truth might that he backstabbed the lion and killed him without even an iota of resistance. That's why I go back to this slide right here and say we must produce more writers. We must produce more writers that look like us so we can tell our story, so we can stop letting other people tell their stories. We can tell our stories from our worldview, because we know there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of mistruths about us out there. So again, we must produce more writers, and hopefully throughout these shows that we're doing, we're able to inspire, which I know today with this interview, we're definitely going, Brother Keith is definitely going to inspire and motivate some people that who wants to write. So again, also the show is dedicated, we always dedicate Author's Perspective to a author, whether the author amongst the living or he's deceased. And we've been dedicating the show to a lot of our ancestors who have been deceased. So today's show is dedicated to John S. and Beatty. And if y'all notice throughout the shows, each show that I have been doing, each ancestor that we've been dedicating the show to a specific author, these authors that I've been getting is these authors that's been coming on to the show, they put me in the mind of these different authors. So go back and look at, with Sean's first one, I did not Amos Wilson, I did which one I did, Sean, for you? I forgot Dr. Yeah, Aisha Hilliard. So Sean put me in the mind of Aisha Hilliard when we interviewed LaDosha Wright. LaDosha Wright put me in the mind of golly, I'm forgetting everybody today. And then when
it's one of them days, man.
Yeah, I got so much running through my mind. And when I did Asar Imhotep, one of our great minds of today, we dedicated the show to Sheikh Auntie Diop, because he puts me in the mind of them. So today we have we have Keith, Brother Keith Nickerson, and he puts me in the mind of the author, the great author, John S. and Beatty. And for people that want more information about the ancestor John S. and Beatty, I did a lovely presentation on John S. and Beatty to get people familiar with who John S. and Beatty is, and Spirits of the Masi Historical Survey in the Minds of African Warrior Scholars, Volume 1. I dedicated my chapters to John S. M. Beatty. So that concludes my lit sharing of my sharing. Hold on, let me go back here real quick. Let me go back to the show. Okay, let me see the comments, and peace to those in the chat. Peace to those in the chat. Please like and share the show. Please share the show with people that you think that may be interested in this information, those that may be interested in learning how to learning the process of a book and walking through the minds of these great authors that we are interviewing. All right, so now I would like to welcome our great brother Keith Joseph Nickerson to Author's Perspective. Brother Keith, before we get into the interview, could you introduce yourselves and tell the people a little bit about who you are?
Sure. First, Kofi, I want to say thank you for inviting me. And I'm a native of Broussard, Louisiana, Keith Nickerson. I'm November 29th, going to be 60 years old. And I consider myself 60 years young. I'm a graduate of University of Louisiana Lafayette, and on a daily basis, I write. My degree upon graduation was quote unquote in accounting, and I pursued the professional job and all the accolades of the material world we live in. And God took the time, set me aside for a little while, and during my solace, during my sila, I discovered a gift that was dormant in me for years. I've always been a storyteller. And to actually be able to put the pen to the paper and take my thoughts and turn them into a literary project is something I envisioned, but never in actuality thought I'd have in hand. To be able to say, I have a Keith Nickerson book, a tangible book, is just so rewarding. And to surround myself with individuals that are of like minds is truly important. I surround myself with guys like Jonathan Polidor and Cliff Roy Jr., Brandy Landry, Shannon Ozan. These individuals are trailblazers, precedent setters within this community. And that's what we need in Lafayette. You know, we're trying to generate a renaissance. It may be a Jim Crow renaissance, but whatever the case may be, we're going to stir up something.
Okay. I have a ton, man, of questions. I know Sean told you I have a ton of questions. I don't really ask the normal questions, and I guess I don't ask the normal questions because I myself and every brothers that's on the panel has an author. So I got my list here of questions. And we're gonna go through them. But first, before we even do it, let me do this here so people, because we support, and this show is also to support our fellow authors. So these are, I don't have all of his books. He has tons of books. I'm hoping in the future to get a lot of those books, but here is one of the books that we have. So each author we bring on, we try to get at least 3 or 4 of the publications if they have multiple publications out. So here is one, The Confessions of the Incarcerated, which is one I can't wait to dig into. And this book here, I have another copy coming, and at the end of the year, we're going to be giving away a few books. So this will be one of the books. Asar Imhotep new book, Aluja, volume 2 will be a giveaway. And I got to figure out how we going to do. Oh, Sean's. I got to get Sean Polidor will be one of the giveaway. We're going to give away 5 books. So I got 3 of the books that I'm going to give away, but we're going to be giving away 5 books at the end of the year. So, but I can't wait to dig in this. And then his brother writes children book too. So I have a children book here. The Keto Saga, book 5 of 24. It says book 5. I have book 5 of 24. So, and we have the Silent Scream trilogy, part 1, A Complete Fear by our good brother Keith Joshua Nickerson. So we do try to support our authors over here because we understand that we must support each other. So let's jump right into it, brother Keith. I always ask the first people that come, when they first come on to the panel, name some of your favorite authors. What are some of your favorites? It can be 1 author, 2, or how many of the authors you got named? Give us some of your favorite authors.
And Kofi, it may seem a little unorthodox who I refer to as the people I cut my teeth reading, but I grew up reading John Steinbeck. I grew up reading Edgar Allan Poe. I grew up reading Ernest Hemingway, William Faulkner. I grew up reading Ernest Gaines and Richard Wright. And I'm a classic reader. And those individuals, those master writers, set the standard for which I try to emulate.
Wow. You and one of your authors, I know one of them. You mentioned Richard Wright. Yes. And actually, Richard Wright is one of my favorite authors as well. He's from the he's originally from not Natchez, but God, my mind is up. I'm telling you, everything is escaping my mind, but he's right up the road from me right now. I can drive. He's 15 minutes up the road from me where he originally stayed before he moved to Natchez. He moved to various places, but yes, he's one of my favorite writers, and he actually gave me the motivation to do what I'm doing as of 2020 in this pandemic, and that is to continue to drop and be consistent with dropping publications. So Richard Wright definitely is one of my favorite writers. Those other guys I'm not quite familiar with, and I know you mentioned.
I was familiar with Edgar Allan Poe. I remember reading The Raven in school, and I like that. I like that eerie kind of vibe, you know. So yeah. Okay. Now I wonder. Now, what was that one book you had up, Kofi?
Which one?
Trilogy book.
Right here.
The Silent Stream. Now that book right there, is that like Edgar Allan Poe? Is that along those lines?
Brother, this book is about a serial killer. He has a strange proclivity. Before he does his crimes, he goes to confession and he tells the priest, "Bless me, Father, for I must kill." Things shared in the confessional must stay between the priest and the individual confessor. So the priest finds himself in a quandary, seeing all these young ladies being abducted, knowing the potential abductor and what's the right thing to do. In the backdrop, there's a police officer named Freeman Jane that has been chasing this serial killer for years. And every time he gets close, something transpires and the guy escapes. In the Silent Scream trilogy, Freeman Jane is battling a hideous killer named the Thumb Collector. And off of all of his victims, he cuts off their right thumb. That's his trophy. And that's a little titillating taste of the Silent Scream trilogy, brother.
Yeah, that sounds nice, man. That sounds nice.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it a little bit more. We're gonna get into some of the publications. We're not gonna be able to talk about all of his publications, but we're gonna be able to get into a few. So my next question is what I know you kind of talked about it a little bit. I don't know. We done talked a lot. I don't know if you done mentioned it on here or we done mentioned it through the conversations we done had, the numerous conversations we done had on the phone. But what got you into writing and how long you've been writing?
What got me into writing is at a certain point, I lost my freedom. And in a stretch of incarceration, the Lord set me down and opened my mind to a gift I've always had. My minor in school was English journalism, and all my life I've been a writer. But in worldly pursuits, thinking caught up in this materialistic world, I was pursuing the wrong things. And being given the opportunity to sit down and hone my gift, over the last 10 years, I've committed to writing every day. I have a Keith Nickerson cliche. My day isn't right unless I write. I write every day. That's the only way mastery transpires. A young man once told me it takes 10,000 hours to get to the mastery point. Well, if it takes 10,000 hours, brother, I'm damn near into millions.
Yes, that's why Sean says you are a grandmaster. A grandmaster. You done mastered them 10,000 hours, like you said.
The results on this flyer right here, you see 13 of my book projects. I actually have 21 book projects published, with another 10 laid out, ready for publication, incorporating the right cover person, who I'm trying to convince to do some work with me. Just getting the right people involved. But I laugh at this because we make a really great, simple, fun process complicated. I'm not going through Random House Publishing. I'm not going through all the traditional publishing routes. I'm self-published. And there's no better rewarding direction and no better rewarding avenue than self-publication. There's pros and cons to it.
Right. Talk to us about the pros and cons, because see, again, this show is not only about highlighting the author's book and going through the mind of the author, but even teaching those that don't know how to start the process of writing a book. We show them the process and then give them their options. So you talk about publishing houses, and we talk about that a lot, the versus. We do self-publishing as well. So tell them about the pros and the cons about going through a publishing company.
Through a publishing house, you're turning over your project, you're paying them a fee, and they do everything. They lay it out, they create the cover, they edit, y'all talk about content, hopefully, but they truly have control of content probably too. And so in a sense, you're paying someone to take control of your project. And if that's what you want to do, if you want to turn over the control to someone else, then more power to you. In actuality though, it's less power to you.
Right.
Whereas self-publishing, you're saving yourself the expense of thousands of dollars of output. Today, if you contacted any entity to get you published, we're talking thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's the depth of what you need to consider. If you want to make that deep of an investment, are you?
Right.
Are you that known as a commodity to be able to publish something and then be able to conclude that you're going to market it and make enough money to survive on it when nobody even knows you?
Right.
Before you even take it to that level, you have to build a following. You have to build your market. You have to build your book per se of clients or buyers or of interested people. Whether it's Netflix looking at one of your book projects to maybe turn it into a series. Maybe it's collaborating with other self-published individuals and making a series of projects where all of you combine and do things in a collaborative effort. There are so many ways when you're self-published that you control the narrative. And that is so important in the publication process. You can turn it over and let them control the narrative, or you can do it yourself and you control the narrative.
Right, and that's the most important thing. That what you said, that's powerful. You can either turn it over and let them control the narrative, or you can do it. You can control your own narrative, and that's the thing. That's been the issue with us. We've been letting them control our narrative, so we got to take back our own power, start controlling our own narrative. And yes, it's thousands of dollars that goes into if you go through these publishing companies. Now, you can it's very rewarding if you go through if you self-publish yourself. And we talk about there's other platforms that does self-publishing, but we mostly talk about KDP Amazon, which is the thing Amazon has where you can actually which doesn't cost you anything. All it costs is your time and dedication putting the project together and upload.
That's how I first started. That's how I first started. That's what I still use to this day. I use KDP. KDP is how I initially Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP, is how I initially entered and got my first book published. I contacted numerous publishing houses. Nobody would touch me because nobody knew me. I didn't have an audience. They say, why are we going to publish your book and nobody wants the book? Why are we going to incur an expense on somebody that's unknown and their business philosophy made sense? And I did something that I can share. I prayed. I said, Lord, if it's meant to be, find me a way to get this out to the masses. And I got Kindle Direct Publishing came to me. And initially, I began the layout process, but there's so many facets to it. You have to learn about metadata. You have to learn about, the criteria for their covers, the criteria for a layout, how to download it, what their expectation is, when they deny something, how you tweak it and adjust it, and it's constant tweaking of a process and refining of a process. And to this day, I'm still refining my process. 20 books later, it's always a work in process. It's a whip. It's a work in process.
Yes, it's definitely a work in process, and we try to share that process with people so we can show people how if they, because a lot of people don't know where to start, don't know how to start. They want to do something. The first thing is just start, just start writing, and right. And over here we trying to maybe, like we said, inspire and produce, where we start producing more writers. So if we show them and give them the blueprint, then we can have more people, because, in the beginning we had questions. We didn't know where to go, how to do it, how a book's supposed to look like, what is the format, even what was the qualifications to get on Amazon, what not, when they reject the project, how to go back and fix it, because you can't fix it inside once you upload it. You have to go back and fix it yourself. Then you have to convert it to a PDF. Then you have to put it back on till you meet their standards. The artwork the same way. If you design, which I like to design our own artwork for the cover, because if you go through them, they have a poor selection on how to design. So even with you designing your artwork for your front and back cover, you still have to meet a certain standard before they, it qualifies for them to start looking at, to look at it and go through another process, which I know we have to go through that. I know you go through that. I know Shonda hasn't go through that as much. Is the waiting period, the 24 to 72 hours waiting period after you publish a book. I know when you do KDP, in a few hours, Sean says, shoot, he go to sleep, he wake up in 2 hours, his book is on Amazon, he ready to rock and roll. So
that's a fact.
Yeah,
it depends on the severity. It depends really on the magnitude of the project.
Yeah. So those, we give those two sides to KDP, direct publishing, or hard copy. And we do hard copy, but eventually I'm going to transfer everything over to KDP too, so we can have that option as well, where they can get them KDP or they can get them, hard copy. With hard copy, it takes 24 to 72 hours if you got a project. Direct publishing, it takes KDP, it takes 2 to 4 hours, and your project is up. Your project up that same day. You upload it.
KDP is an opportunity. You have ebooks, you have a paperback. You have options with KDP, but then also when you privately publish, then you have other options. We've been discussing something recently, Sean and I, Cliff, with hardback books. That's another venture, that I find fascinating. Part of when you're selling a series, you may sell a gold-bound hardback copy of the Silent Scream trilogy, all 3 of them together. And that's futuristic marketing ideas. You have to incorporate so many things, not thinking just of your present project, but you think of future projects. You think of, I'm going to slow back down a little bit too. You need to determine, first off, if you're just writing a book as a bucket list item, are you really a lifetime writer? If you're just doing something to check off a list and say, I wrote a book, then that was just a goal you had and you just wanted to write a book. That doesn't mean you're a writer or author. No, but if you find yourself wanting to make it a life's work, then that's totally different commitment. It's totally different passion in the heart. That flame never dies. It don't die after one. Oh, I did it. I'm done. Nah, after you do one, man, that just fuels you for the next one. I know somebody, they so obsessed now, they so addicted, they started with one. I think they had 7 or 8 now. I get a call all the time. I'm like, hello? And they say, Keith, I finished number 7, bro. I'm like, look, man, you trying to catch me up? I gotta get busy.
Yeah.
That's friendly competition.
Right.
It's supposed to be a fun venture.
Right.
It can be frustrating if you allow it. But if you incorporate the right people, Kofi, there was a time I couldn't publish a book, period, because I couldn't do a cover. And I input my cover, and it would tell me my trim was wrong. Oh, I didn't have bleed. I was running over. Just small little intricate stuff that was a millimeter off. And I'm like, how can I change it a millimeter? And just something minute as that. But then, as it would be, as fate has it, I see as God has it, but I'll say as fate has it, I met someone that then turned me on to someone else, and that individual showed me an application, a software, and now I'm able to make my own covers. I can't touch that individual that taught me his creative genius, but it at least gives me something for me to begin with and tweak with and play with, and then when I get an idea of what I would like as my finality, I can take it to the guru. And I can say, bro, what can we do about this, man? I'm ready to take this to market. And we sit down, and we make a game plan. Kofi, I'm not part of where I say I'm self-published. You can't go far by yourself. You got to surround yourself with like minds and individuals that want the same things. And I've been blessed to meet some individuals through a personal empowerment network. And these individuals, I'm telling you, they empower. Their title isn't fraudulent. That's what they're going to do. After you interact with them, you leave empowered.
Yes, sir. You definitely have to surround yourself around like-minded individuals. You definitely have to have a team, because we as a collective Kofi Piesie Research Team, we are a team, and that's the African way. Over here, we look at everything from an African perspective. So we believe in tribalism. We believe in community, because we understand that 8 hands is better than 2 hands. 12 hands is better than 6 hands. So we understand that, in order to achieve something, to get something done, you must have a team. You can't do it by yourself. So you are absolutely correct with what you just said, man. You definitely have to have a team. You definitely have to have people around you that's inspiring you, motivating you, just like you mentioned, even friendly competition, because we do that over here. Somebody will get through with a project or get through with a chapter or come up with an idea for a book. And man, that puts some fire behind one of the individuals and me. And we begin to sit down and strategize and start to put pen to paper and start to type out and start to produce some of these projects. So I definitely agree with you on that. Let's talk about, we won't be able to talk about all your publications, but he does have 21 publications out, and he has 100 manuscripts in the chamber. We're going to talk about those too, a few of those 100 manuscripts, because again, Brother Keith writes every day, every single day. And we've been talking maybe for the past 2 or 3 weeks here and there. And every time I talk to him, he's always on his way to the library. He's either on his way to the library or he just leaving the library. This is if I talk to him in the morning. If I talk to him in the evening, he's on his way back to the library, So he's very dedicated in what he does. He has a passion in writing, and I can't wait to break open some of the books that I have and start reading some of his works here real soon. But let's talk about your and I don't know, and you can correct me if this wrong. Was this your first publication, Malady, a survival story, surviving cancer and addiction in 2014? Was it published in 2014? And was this your first publication?
No. My first publication was Confessions of the Incarcerated.
Okay. Because
when I got released from David Wade Correctional Center, I promised some gentlemen something. I promised these men doing life. Some of these men were locked up 50, 60, 70 years. And I promised them I was going to tell the world about them. You know, we live in a society that claims to be forgiving, but then we lock men away up from childish mistakes for the rest of their lives. And it's an atrocity. You know, I know that crime must be dealt with, but at a certain point, when have you paid your dues? When are you able to say, I paid my debt to society and I'd like to go on? So that's why I wrote Confessions of the Incarcerated. When I went to David Wade Correctional Center, I went there to have a stem cell bone marrow transplant. And while I was in prison, I had this stem cell bone marrow transplant, saved my life. And all these men took care of me, nursed me back to health, and asked me to tell the world about them. So I felt obligated. So that was my first book, Confessions of the Incarcerated, interviews with men doing life.
Wow. And with that, didn't you say you, and some of these are interviews where you interview some of the inmates that you was with?
They're all inmates.
So, okay.
All the interviews are inmates. I had an 18-question format, and I'd ask them when was their first interaction with the law. I'd ask them for some pearls of wisdom. I'd ask them if they had to do it over, what would they change? I'd ask them what do they want to tell their victim? I'd ask them how do they want to be remembered? And just questions that delved into their persona. Mm-hmm. And then I would leave them, and I'd go write up my interview, and then I'd come back and I'd read it to them and have them sign off a waiver because I was going to publish it when I came on. Mm-hmm. So I had it all covered, and I'd read their stories back to them. And grown men, hardened supposed criminals, cried like babies because they saw their lives as wasted. And it was hurtful to see how they looked at themselves as so demeaning and nothing, and you know, and those men saved me. Those men gave me a new purpose in life. I'll never forget them.
Yeah, man.
So that was my first project, Confessions of the Incarcerated.
Okay.
Then I wrote My Malady second.
Okay.
Because while I was in there, surviving cancer and addiction, I got cured of cancer. And I got cured of addiction. You know what I mean? When you're incarcerated, it's not like you have access to cocaine.
And you mentioned while you was in there, you mentioned we was talking that, you know, you mentioned you wrote the book, you had cancer. So you got cured of cancer and addiction. You was telling me that you was the last person to ever being in prison where they was able to
after me, the state of Louisiana stopped curing inmates of cancer. Mm-hmm. They stopped giving you any type of preventive chemo, radiation, anything like that. And they gave you hospice from that point on and let you die. I was the last person in the state of Louisiana in 2012 at LSU Shreveport. They gave me a stem cell bone marrow transplant and saved my life. It costed the state over $700,000. And they said, how can they spend that much money on an inmate and normal citizens can't get that type of medical treatment? So they banned it from that point. And I mean, and it made sense to me. I didn't complain about it. I was fortunate. And those that follow, I'm sure they may complain. But I understand the rationale behind it too.
Yeah. And that book was, what year was that book published in? Brother Keith.
Right at the beginning of 2015.
Okay. Because they have the dates a little bit different. I'm getting the dates from off of Amazon. They have published, and I can get probably why they do that, because
You see something else though. I've dropped every time you change your manuscript and you go in and you download a new manuscript.
Right.
That adjusts the publication.
Right, and that's what I was finna say. I kind of understand right there. Anytime you go in and you make adjustments, you know, from that point on, from that time it's downloaded is what the date that they go with, because I have two different dates for the Confessions of Incarcerated. I have one of April the 10th of 2015, and then I have another one, I think it's in 2017. I can't even find it on my paperwork.
That's the one I went in and adjusted it. I took my manuscript. Because I had a bad tendency, I would publish and not reread my projects. And it's so important also to reread your work.
Yes. And that's the great thing about Amazon too, is you can always go back in and re-edit it, you know, or revise your books. And but you got to go back through the same process. Once you revise or edit your body of your book, it has to go back through review. You know, and if you're doing a hardback copy, it's 24 to 72 hours. If you're doing KDP publishing, it's just only a few hours. And once they come back, it comes out of review. Then from that day on, those new adjustments, new edits, new revise is now ready for the public to get. Those old ones are out of here. So I like that too. So you always have an opportunity to go back in and add this. If you want to add on, if you want to take away, you have the opportunity to do that.
In the marketing aspect of it, when I make a second edition of a book, that first flawed edition is priceless. So those individuals have a collector's item that nobody else gonna ever have. So that first edition is a collector's book. Then when I come out with my second edition, and then it's a whole different project from a new date, a whole different marketing strategy. But that's the key. It's marketing strategies.
That's right. Before we move on, I got two of my other brothers, two of my other brothers from Kofi Piesie Research Team, brother Sutek Okandi Uyani Olawa, and we have T'Challa Bangara. Y'all brothers got anything? I know y'all weren't able to speak because y'all wasn't in here when we first started, but y'all got anything to say, any words before I continue with the interview with Brother Keith, or do y'all want to speak and greet yourself to Brother Keith?
Peace, Brother Keith. This is Brother Sutek. We appreciate you coming on. This is a great show so far. I'm really interested. And I do have one question off the top. Like, how do you stay this motivated to go this hard on the books?
And I talk to people all the time, and I tell them, there's something inside you that either you got or you don't. Some things can be infused. Some things can be injected into a person. Either you have that passion, that fire, or you don't. It don't just start in 2014. It's been in me since I was a little boy. I've always desired and wanted and was curious, and I always wanted to be the valedictorian in the class. I always wanted to be the best basketball player, the best baseball player, the best football player. I always wanted to be the man with the most women, the smartest on the dean's list. I always inspired to be at the top. And so nothing fuels me, it's just within me. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think about, I say, Lord, thanks for waking me up this morning. And then after that, it's up to me to do the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm going right. That's my right thing. My day isn't right unless I write.
And that's your phrase too, ain't it, Keith? What's the phrase?
Keith Nickerson cliche. My day isn't right unless I write.
I like that, man. I like that.
When I grew up, I grew up as an athlete. And in the summer, We had 2-a-days. You would practice in the mornings, and then you take a break and you go practice in the evening. You sweat, you take salt tablets, you would work out hard. And I say, I was doing that for a game. I work for myself now. I do 2-a-days for myself. I go in the morning to work, take me a break, and I come back in the afternoon work. The library don't close till 9 o'clock. I work me from sunup to sundown. That old slave mentality. But I'm not doing it for master. I'm doing it for Keith.
That's right. That's right. Brother T'Challa, you know, you weren't able to speak. You came on a little late. You got it. I want to greet Brother Keith, or you got something you want to ask him? Or?
Absolutely. Peace to everybody that's tuned in. Peace to the brothers on the panel, and peace to our special guest, Brother Keith. I definitely understand what you mean about that passion, that inner drive, about having it or not. As an athlete myself, as one who's always been very physical and very into literature and writing myself, I definitely understand because I've been writing since I was a boy. So it's just an honor to have you on here, and you know, for you to be able to share your story with us. And I'm gonna sit back and continue to listen because I came in late. So,
All right.
Going back to the first question, what inspires me? We talked about our foundation, how it was started. When I was a kid, I grew up in a time, in an era where I didn't have a television until I was probably 12 or 13 years old. I grew up in the 70s and the 60s, you know? And so I grew up in poverty in Louisiana. And I can't say poverty. I grew up happy. I grew up as a family, you know? And my mom had a mandate every summer. My mom mandated every summer we had to read 30 books. Every summer we had to read 30 books. And I read them. The Grapes of Wrath, The Pearl, you know, you name it. I mean, I did it. You know, that's where I went around the world. That's where I traveled the world in books. And that's how I first began to be able to see things. You know, when I grew up watching the baseball game, I'd be in the back room with my grandfather. And I was telling that to Kofi the other day, and it would say, Jim Wynn steps up to the plate and he digs his foot into the ground, and he's ready, swinging that big log he has for a bat. And the pitcher's on the mound, Nolan Ryan, the fireballer. He's winding up. It's going to be a major showdown, power against power. And you would see that. You would visualize it. You wasn't seeing it. You were visually seeing it. That's where creativity starts. We live in a visual world now. I like to write and make you see.
Yes, sir. Before we go into our new little segment, let's talk about another one of your books. And all of his books we have down in the description. So after the show or during the show, if you want to click the arrow down, you can see we have a list of all of his books that are published right now in the bottom of the description, just for those that may be interested in purchasing a book from Keith on Amazon.com. But I will also get his other information so that if you want to purchase the books personally from Brother Keith, you can do that as well. But we'll keep you updated on that on the info on how they can how you can get the book from them. I mean, get the book from him. What happened? But
I'll give you all the 411, all the information on any book. Okay. I have an inventory of all my books at home, and I prefer you come through me because I'm assigned a book. Right. And we can do direct business and establish some rapport.
Right, and that's the important thing too. And again, this show is about teaching and learning, you know, people about what to do. And you always want to try to go direct through the author, you know. You know, it's good if you support us on Amazon or whatever, but you always want to try to go through the author, because we talked about and we broke down the split with Amazon. You know, we know Amazon is the one that all we do is upload the book. They the one that prints the book. After they prints the book, the other one that prints it, they use their paper, their paper they use, or whatever type of thing that they use for the book cover. They the one press it up, they the one package it, and they ship it out. And they also charge you for the printing costs. So there is a split, which is not a split. I don't say it's a split because it's a 60-40 split.
60-40.
Yeah, so 60-40. So
60-40 after their print costs.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling them, Conan. That's what I was, it's more than a 60-40 because you got a 60-40. They're 60. Your split is 40, but you out of the 40, you got to pay for the printing, and it all depends on what size the book is in order for you, for the printing costs. If you got something maybe about 100 pages or a little less, it may be $2, $2.50. Something that's above 100, 200, 300, it gets up to $300-400. Kids books are more expensive because now you got to deal with color. You got to deal with color. So
my children's books are sometimes more expensive than one of my actual novels.
Exactly. So, we try to show, and share this information with the people. But let's talk about real quick before we go into the other segment. Let's talk about, and you can correct me if this date is wrong too. One of your 2016 releases, The Revelation, A New Era, Good versus Evil, A New World Order, The Return of Man, Book 1, which it says it was published in June the 13th, 2016.
That book, The Revelation, is one of my ventures into sci-fi futuristic writing. And it's man after nuclear holocaust. And man has been forced to live underground. And there's a prophecy of one that will lead man to his rightful place on the surface. But on the surface, all these military installations that once did experiments on humans, on all kinds of clinical trials, all these creatures have now been released onto the surface of the earth. And they seek one thing, revenge against man. And their number one delicacy is human flesh. And so man lives underground. And there's a tribe that lives underground that's led by a young boy named Nomo. And he has to go on something called his Kushi, where he goes out onto the surface and he has to survive and come back with a hunt. There's lore of many that have come back, but in actuality, none have ever come back. And so he set out to go do his Kushi and discovers things on the surface that are just unbelievable. Camouflage men and flying humans and all types of creatures. And they befriend him. Some befriend him, yet some seek to ravish him. And there's the battle.
Okay, that sounds interesting, man. Now let's go to the rapid fire segment. 2 minutes on the clock. Brother Satepara, you ready?
Yes, I am ready. So, brother, we're gonna put 2 minutes on the clock. This segment is just a segment just to find out who the author is. It's just 10 questions. You got 2 minutes to answer them. It's just questions just to figure out who you are and what type of things you like. So, Kofi, you got the clock? Or you want me to do the clock? I'll do the clock.
I was muted. Yeah. You got it, or you want me to do the clock, Satep?
Yeah, you do the clock so you can tell him how much time he got on there while I'm reading it.
Okay.
All right. So let me know when you started, Kofi, and I'll ask him his first question.
Okay. Hold on. Let me go to the clock. All right. Timer. Dang. Hold on. All right. Go ahead and start. Go ahead.
All right, brother. Favorite color?
My favorite color is black. I believe in myself, blackness. You know, there was a time I thought all these other colors were great, but my ethnicity has been brought back to me. I met someone recently in the last 3 years.
You got a minute and 37 seconds left.
Yeah, we gotta go through these fast.
Gotta go through them fast.
Let's go.
All right, hot or cold?
I'm hot.
All right, night or day?
All day.
All right, what's your favorite TV show?
Watch TV.
Okay, what was your first car?
A Monte Carlo, 79 Monte Carlo, my MC, my Mexican Cadillac.
All right, if you were on an island for 90 days, what 3 books would you bring?
I bring three empty books, just with a bunch of empty pages, because I need to write, and I write long books.
Okay, how old were you when you stopped believing in white Jesus?
I was born believing in that fraud.
Okay. What's your top 3 jazz artists?
Hiroshima, Spyro Gyra, and let me think of any jazz. Grover Washington Jr.
All right. If you had $1 million, what would your first investment be?
I'd give my mom whatever her heart's desire.
Okay. Last question. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
It may seem weird, but as long as I'm free, I don't care. Where is it?
All right, brother. We appreciate you participating in our rapid fire segment. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope the audience.
It was different. Somebody in my audience right here said, "Keith, you just got 2 minutes, not per question, bro."
That's all good, man. You did a good job, man.
Oh man, I love it. You know, that's how in life, nothing is truly pre-planned. We have to be flexible.
Right.
You know, me and Sean talk about something all the time, and we talk about being narrow-minded. And they say, me and Sean talk about things, and they say, travel is fatal to narrow-mindedness. Travel is fatal to narrow-mindedness because it exposes you to cultures, to the world. And then you begin to realize, in that small little perspective you were looking things at, your perspective was really warped.
Yeah.
We always have room to grow. I've grown into the author I am. First, as a writer, you don't even believe in yourself because nobody knows what you can do. And then you get input from someone that actually reads, and they tell you, dude, you're a writer. And then your confidence grows. And then you have an established standard. And when they say, I like your stuff, and then you say, if they like it, I'm gonna get it to the point. If they love it, so that even make me want to even go more. So I never find contentment when they say, Keith, that's fire what you're doing. I know I can do better.
Right. I like that. I like that attitude. Before, I want to talk about your children book, but let's talk about, before we talk about the children book, let's talk a little bit more about your process, you know, because this show is about the process. Everybody that writes, that is a writer or creator or a producer, say their process is different. What is the process of Keith Nickerson when you getting ready to write a book? You know, maybe, you know, some people process is first they have to write, like me. I have to write some of my stuff down or ideals down on paper, but first, before I begin to go to my laptop, or first I have to visualize it first in my mind, and then once I visualize it, I write it down, and once I write it down, I go and do a rough draft, then come back and I start to add on with the rough draft. So I'm just giving you what my process may be, and every of Kofi Piesie Research Team members, our process is different. So I'm just giving you my process. What is your process as a writer, as an author? What is Keith's process? What's your first thing?
First, I have a concept, an idea, and I write it down. And I ponder it. I create a storyline with it. It may be Kofi Piesie, how he met Keith. And then in just that little sentence, I'm gonna envision a meeting. And then I'm gonna explain that meeting. And then I'm gonna tell you what happened and how we interacted. And then through that meeting, you introduce me to people, I introduce you to people. And then things grow. And before you know it, Kofi and Keith have a whole entourage. And it's a whole story. But it has to start with one concept. And then you grow it. You add characters, you add storyline. You know, when I write a book project, I may start off with 7 major characters. And from those 7 major characters, somehow, before this project concludes, whether it's part 8 or part 9, all these characters will intertwine and have a common thread. But at the beginning, there is no idea how they're going to meet because they're all living 7 separate lives. But through the creative faculty, you make that path in some kind of way, that spider web links them all together to that middle spider. All the web stringing out to the 7 characters, bringing it to the one. All right. I created my mind before I even start writing anything down. And then once I create it in my mind, then I start writing it down. But then I have to admit something too. I haven't created in a while because all I've been doing is transposing my old books I have. I have so many books I've written already. I'm not going to have them all published before I die. And my book's so big, people tell me I have to break them down now.
Yeah, you got some yes sir, you got some thick books. You got some the only thin books you got is them children books. The rest of them books is thick. Yeah. But you know, for the people that enjoy to read, like you know, especially with us and my brothers on the panel, we readers. So you know, we're not intimidated by those books, you know. So we love those types of books. But you do have a lot of people that read, but not extreme readers like a lot of us. So they may be intimidated by those books. Man, that's just too much to be reading. But I love those types of books, and the team, we love those types of books. The thicker they are, the better they are. So, and we hoping to one day get there because we don't have those. Matter of fact, and I'm gonna show we don't have as thick books as you would have. Hold on. Okay, I'm doing the wrong thing. Here we go. So this and here, The Confession of the Incarcerated. This is a pretty thick book. The Silent Screams of Trilogy Part 1, The Complete Fear. Here is another thick book. So his books are very thick. Now the children book, it's thin. We know it's thin, but outside those children books, you're gonna get thick books. And he has 21 publications.
And Kofi, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Sean and I went to a school and we read one of my children's books. And on the way back, I said, Sean, I gotta shrink this book, bro. It was 2 parts. Trying to explain it to them children. Them children didn't want to hear them words, they wanted pictures. Mm-hmm. And so as a writer, you even have to know the audience you're dealing with. What appeals to them? And so even as an author, in my mind, I grew up reading big books. And so that was my goal. I one day wanted to be able to write novels. But I realized too, though, In this time, people don't have the time to read 6 and 7 hours and sit there and read like that. So I now realize maybe I can take my trilogy and turn it into 6 books and make it a sixtology, a Keith Nickerson word. I have an octology, an 8-part book. You know, that's just what I've had to do now. The Hidden. I have a book called The Hidden. It's an octology because it's 8 parts. Yes, The Hidden. When I first wrote The Hidden was like 280 pages. And then I went and I redid The Hidden and released a second edition and shrunk it down to 218 pages.
Mm-hmm.
I took 60 pages out of it. And you know what them 60 pages was? Fluff. Fluff, irrelevant stuff, repetitive stuff.
Hey, let me hop on the interview right quick, right? Who could afford to take off 60 pages on their book?
We definitely can't. I'm not taking 60 pages off nothing. Well, when you can write like that, man, and it comes to you, man, I guess you could do that. Brother Vasa and Brother Brother Vasa, I think that's Brother Vasa is the only one. Brother Vasa, you have something you would like to ask before I go further into a few more questions. We got a few more questions left. We got about 25 minutes left before the show ends. So Vasa, you got something? Everybody else was answer Tepera. I know you did the rapid fire segment, 2 minutes on the clock. So if you got anything too you want to ask Brother Keith, you can too, brother.
And please, I want to say, I want y'all to pick my brain. I want to share what I have because it's not advantageous to me to hoard my process or to hoard something I can share with somebody that's going to help them. We can dream. That's what we want to do. We want you to stop dreaming and bring it to fruition.
Yeah. Stop that. So Satep, you got anything else you would like to ask? Or Vasa, I don't know if Vasa done stepped away from his computer or what.
No, I didn't. I don't know if Vasa do.
He must have stepped away from the computer. But we'll just go ahead. Let's talk about you. You have you can correct me if I'm wrong too. The Keto Saga. These are your children book. You have 24 stories. So it's what a 24 story, 25 collection on the T.
Kofi, let me stop you right there. He's actually 35.
Okay, wow. All right. Wow. And there's a lot of them. I see a lot of them on Amazon too. So explain that title before and you know, kind of walk us through these sagas. It's the Keto Saga. Explain that title to us.
When I was a little boy, my name is Keith. My mama called me Keto. And she said, Keto, go run to the store for me. Or she said, Keto, I know you're not doing right in there. You're quiet. She said, Keto, what you doing, boy? She said, Keto, that's my last time telling you. And so it's reverting back to things that as a child, you're taught and instilled. And these are all teaching tools. My first one, the Keto Saga, is the first day of school. And something all children experience. And it's meant to make them realize, just because it's new to you, it's something that's been done for hundreds of years. And you're going to get over it. And here's an example of another child's first day. Another Keto Saga is the responsibility of owning a pet. Some children want a dog or a cat, or these days, they might want a gerbil or something. But it's nice to have that little temporary fad thing like a Christmas gift, but with a pet comes responsibility and accountability. So that's what this teaches. Yes, I even have one where it's called The Incredible Hubcap. And that's my big brother, Stephen. And he was bigger to life than me. He could do anything. I saw him like a superhero. He'd have a cape on when I called for him to come help me. It'd be like, da, 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 and he'd arrive on the scene. And he was my superhero, the Incredible Hubcap. And so that's what I relive. I grew up with a brother and 4 sisters. And so we would do incredible things. My sisters they'd make dirt cakes, and they'd go baking, and they'd make these little dirt pies. And they'd say, we need a tester. And they say, come on, Kito, you the tester. And so I would test their little dirt pies. And then I had a new nickname. They call me Dirt Man. And all these little stories that come along with that.
Okay.
The things that bond siblings and create something called family. Family is about memories that warm the heart. And that's what Kito Saga is about. There's also some about racism. Kito befriends his neighbor. He hears a boy playing basketball. And when he looked through the fence, his new neighbor is a little white guy. And the little boy had blonde hair and blue eyes. And Kito had never seen a boy like that before. And they became good friends. But one day he took his little friend to the neighborhood where he grew up. And all his little friends put him in check, and they asked him, who you with? You with him or you with us? And he found himself in a dilemma. And that was the first time he had to make a choice based on skin color. And what do you think Kito did? Kofi, what do you think Kito did?
I'm here. I'm listening. I'm listening.
You're not gonna find out till you read the book.
No, I was flipping through the book, man. I was flipping through your kid book as you. I'm definitely, man, going to get all of them. I got 5 of let's see, 5 of 24. I got 5 of 20. But you said there are what, 33? You said 35. So I got 5 of 35.
I just created a new one. It's called Mr. Green Thumb, Mr. Clarence Lewis. And I met Sean Grandfather. And Sean Grandfather can grow anything. That man grew some pumpkins almost big like a cow. And so Kito one day, he met a man that had a garden and had overalls, and the man taught him how to grow things. And it was called Meeting Mr. Green Thumb. And little things like that, just a talk between me and Sean led to a Kito Saga.
Mm.
And that's the creative faculty.
Right.
I swear, and I'll be honest, me, Cliff, and Sean can just be brainstorming, and it'll be fodder for a book. I'll stop. Me and Sean will be talking. I'll say, stop. I'll say, Cliff, hold on. And I'll go grab my pen, and I'll write down that idea right then.
Yeah, and that's a great thing to do, because I do that as well. I got a little pad, and I take a little pad with me now when I go to work or I'm out, and I jot down ideas. And it may not always be an ideal for a book, because we do presentations too. So it might be an ideal for me to do a presentation, so I do the same. I do the same thing.
That's important, Kofi. Anybody that's a creator, when that first thought comes to your mind, it's never as fresh and vibrant as when you initially had it. Right.
And I do it because I'd be like, it is something to come to me, boom, and I'll be thinking, and I'll repeat it. I said, "Ooh, that's like you said, that's fire, man. That's dope. That's dope." And I'll be like, and I don't write it down. I'll be like, "Oh, I can remember that because that idea is dope." When I get to the house, ooh, it's going down. I get to the house.
What I thought about?
What was it? Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. So I have to write it down. Like the other night, I was in the shower, and I was thinking about something to add. Where we have another book. Where we got a few books coming out, but the one that's coming out on Black Friday, I had an idea to end my book, and I was in the shower and I was thinking about. I said, "Oh yeah, I can end it like this in the conclusion and do this and that." So I said, as soon as I get out the shower, I'm gonna do it. I got out the shower. I said, oh, it's here. Sat down for a minute and ate something and got to talking and got ready to get over here to the laptop. It was gone. It was gone. So, you know, if you really, so it's very important, man, if you got ideals, especially if you are a creator or producer, right? Because that's all a writer and an author is. This is a creator. It's a producer. So, you know, you got these ideals, you know, write them down, jot them down so you won't forget them.
I was part of a trio. We went make a presentation at a school, and one guy told a joke about it is good. And the way that he presented that joke and engaged the children and made them participate in it, I said, I got to make that into a keto saga. Because it was just so incredible, the story and, you know, the theme. It was about a hunt that took place, and he incorporated so many things that were humorous, but also life lessons. And that's what's important too with my children's books. They're teaching tools. In the back of each one, you'll see I have a little question format in the back. And I even have a moral to the story. It's important. You, children, need to be guided. It's our role to guide them in the right directions. And that's what the Keto Saga is going to do. Give them examples of living the right way.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. That's powerful. I like that. Let's talk about, you got a book called Classical Westerns, The Winning of Freedoms, The Beginning. Can you kind of talk about that book just briefly? You know, just briefly. You know,
there's about 6 slaves post-Civil War. They were all on the same plantation, and they moved west and become some of the first Black cowboys, some of the first Black sheriffs, some of the first Black property owners, some of the first Black lawyers and lawmen, and even some of the first ones to obtain a ship and go back to the motherland. All of them had their own reason for wanting, but they fought in the Civil War together. They were a unit, and they left the plantation altogether and ventured west altogether. And it's about a classic Western, The Winning of Freedom, changing a mindset. The slave was so fearful of freedom that he preferred to stay on the plantation. Now D6 embraced freedom and sought the unknown.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that book out too. I'm gonna have to put that in my cart, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put that in my cart. Now we'll talk about one more book. That you talk about one more book in a minute, but I wanna ask you, you know, to explain to the listening audience what is some of the challenges of being a writer. What is some of the challenging of being a writer?
One of my major challenges,
yeah,
is never having enough hours in a day.
Say it again.
Never having enough hours in a day.
Oh, right. I can dig it. I definitely can dig it. I see it all the time too.
I came to the library. I called you early this morning. I came to the library early. I finished off a collection part 2 project for my mom, a tributary project. I'm putting the final touches on it. I'm working on a new fictional project that's preceding the Silent Scream trilogy. It's called Meek, Freeman, Jane. And it's first, the Meek will inherit, who will inherit Miss Meek? The second part is the Meek will inherit the harlot. And it's just leading up to the Silent Scream trilogy. So it's numero uno, numero dos, numero tres, numero cuatro. The Freeman Jane quatology, I call it. So that's another Keith Nickerson word.
Okay.
That's what
So your challenge is it's not enough time in the day.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Kofi, and that might seem obsessive. That might seem like I'm just way out there, but I don't have time for nothing else to do but write. When females say, Keith, would you like to do something this evening? I say, I would love to, but my boss won't let me. And they say, who's your boss? I say, I'm my own boss. And I gotta write, I'm sorry. I got time for foolishness no more. I'm too old for all that.
Mm-hmm.
All I want to do is be left alone and write.
Wow. And with that mind state and process, you have created 100 and some manuscript books. So all these you have 21 again, for those that just popped in the chat, you have 21 published works out now. When I say published work, we're talking about books. And you have 100 manuscripts. They're just waiting to be published. So all those books are finished and just ready to start go to the presses to be printed up, put out on display to be sold.
Kofi, I have a manuscript that's over 1,000 pages. I'm gonna turn it into a 16-part book. Sean said, Keith, there can't be one book. No. So I'm gonna make it into a 16-part book, and it's introducing you to the individual in the Silent Scream trilogy. You know, the Silent Scream trilogy is gonna be a 20-part book. It's gonna be my trilogy 3, my quadrilogy 4, and my major manuscript, the other 13.
Dang. That's
We will get a sample of a size project that I potentially would have had, and here the size the book would have been. This is 900 pages.
Woo, that's a thick book.
I decided, Kofi, I might want to break that down into about 4.
Yo, yeah, because I'm finna tell you, Keith, your printing cost gonna be out the roof, man.
The shipping and handling.
Yeah, the shipping and handling, because that book gonna be heavy.
Okay, and before we shut this down, look, I want to get these dudes in this too. The shipping and handling. This is Cliff Ron and John Polador.
Yeah, I definitely got to talk to Cliff. Sean and told me a lot about brother Cliff, so we definitely gonna chop it up with him and exchange numbers. And I want to get him on the show, man. I would like to have him on the show, man. When time permits.
You've been an awesome guest.
Yeah. Brother. Anybody else, man? I got like 2 more questions, 2 small questions, and then we're gonna end the show. We got about 7 minutes left for the show. Brother, anybody, any other brothers on the panel? I know y'all already done asked some questions, but if anybody got anything else, T'Challa, Satepara, Sutek, or Brother Vasa, I know you the only one hadn't asked. I don't know if you still at your computer or you done left the computer. You know, y'all got something else?
No, go ahead, Brother Kofi.
Okay. Go ahead, Brother Keith.
I want to put one thing out there too, Brother Kofi. Y'all ever decide, hey, let's combine our abilities and collaborate on something? I'm always available and accessible to try to do something together. You know, that's what we talked about, unity and camaraderie.
Yes, sir.
This opportunity lets me know. Now I have to pay it forward. So any way I can do that, please keep me in the mix and I'll gladly help.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, you family now. You family. After I talk to a person 3 times on the phone, you either my brother, you my sister afterwards. So, so we definitely gonna be reaching out to you because we like Sean too. Sean is a fast producer, a fast creator. So he dropped books like hotcakes. So we do this. We doing some of the same things. So we dropping books after books after books. We done dropped 4 books this year. We got about 5 more books to drop before December, and they coming. I'm talking about hot off the presses real soon. So we definitely gonna keep you in mind and keep Brother Sean in mind and get y'all involved in some of these projects that we got going out too. Because again, y'all family.
Do you do your projects through KDP Publishing too?
Huh?
You have another avenue. You use KDP too?
Oh yeah. We go through Amazon. We do our hardbacks. We go through Amazon. We don't do the ebooks. We just doing the hard copies. We do but we go through Amazon. We go through the same process as well. We self-publish our own books. We do everything over here. We do everything over here, from the writing to the layout of the book, the organizing of the book covers, the artwork, the back of the book cover. So we do everything over here. We got like I say, Kofi Piesie Research Team is a team, and we utilize each other. Well, we able to do what we able to do what we need to do, and we able to get done what we need to get done, and push. That's why we able to push these projects out the way we pushing these projects out, these publications, because we are a team, So we definitely gonna have y'all a part of some of the upcoming projects.
Yes.
Sean asked me about a project, but it's okay. He asked crazy. He asked me to write an introduction in one of his book, and then I guess he done. I ain't heard nothing else about it, so I guess he don't want me involved in one of the books. Okay. I ain't forgot. I hadn't forgot. But it's okay.
Put him on blast, right? Put him on blast.
It's all good. I ain't forgot about it though. You thought I'd have forgot, but I ain't forgot. But yeah, these last 2 questions, and we'll end the show, man. And if anybody in the chat got anything for Bro Keith, put it in the chat, and I'll pin it up here where we able to see it, and we'll read the question out if y'all have a question for Brother Keith before we end the show. But Bro Keith, let's see what I want to ask you next. Yes, after coming up with your ideas, Brother Keith, after writing your chapters, editing your book, putting the book together, having it published, what did you learn about yourself after doing all this? With it can be with any book, or it can be with all of the books. What after coming up with these ideals, because you done wrote many books, after coming up with thousands of ideas and writing thousands of chapters, editing your book, putting the book together, and having it published, what did you learn about yourself?
I learned either I can stay in my back lab and write all day and nobody know about me.
Okay.
I can learn the whole 360 degrees of the business and realize that marketing is a part of it too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, marketing is definitely a part of the book, because you don't want to just produce something and then nobody knows what you done produced, so marketing.
I had a mindset where all I wanted to do was write, and I didn't care who knew. But then I realized, who am I writing for? I'm writing for the public. I want people to see my talent and my gift. I want them to be into my stories, and so I realized I'm not doing it for me. That's a selfish way of looking at it.
Right.
And again, sometimes you have to have external input, interjection of information. Somebody came and said, dude, you need to get out the lab. And I have, and I'm thankful. And like I said, I surround myself with people that give me ideas, and I'm not so stuck in my way of thinking that I can't absorb change.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about change. Change has a considerable psychological impact on the human mind. To the fearful, change is threatening because things may get worse. To the hopeful, change is encouraging because things may get better. But to the confident, change is inspiring because the challenge exists to make things better. So I embrace change.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the last question would be, Brother Keith, is can you give any advice to the up and coming writers? Any advice?
Like I tell anybody, put the pen to the paper.
Just do it.
To the paper. What Nike say? What's Nike logo? What they say?
Just do it. Just do it.
Sounds
And
quick, brother.
And it's crazy because most of you are the fifth author, because we hadn't too long started Author Perspective. So you are the fifth author that came on the platform, and everybody said the same thing. You know, even with me talking to you off, talking to you on the phone, you said the same thing. You know, basically just do it. You just gotta do it. You got to put pen to paper. So, you know, for those aspiring writers, again, just do it. Just start. Just take those ideals and start to write those ideals down, you know, and, you know, reach out to some people. My advice too is just reach out to people that you know that are writing, has published works out, and that is accessible. And, you know, they can walk you through the process, or you can go back to some of these videos that we have with Author Perspective, and we talk about prologue. And matter of fact, while I'm talking about this, that probably would be when Sean dropped his book. I think that would be a dope book to add to Author's Perspective, and a dope giveaway, because, you know, numerous of these shows we talk about what is a prologue, what is a dedication, what is a dedicated forward, what is an introduction, the chapters. You know, so I think, and what in that book, I'm definitely waiting on that book. So I think in that book would be definitely, like I said, a great part of the show, because it's what we were talking about, you know, so people we can, you know, this can be a source. This show, Sean's book can be a source as well, because we need a lot of that in the writing, where we actually explaining and walking people through the process. Oh yeah.
The anatomy of the book.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, the anatomy of the book. Yes, sir. And that's going to be, actually, that will be one of the giveaways. I don't know how I would go about doing it, but maybe since it won't be a hard copy, I probably would pay for 5 people to have that book on KDP. So because it's going to be an ebook. So I'll give away 4 hard copies books, and then I will give 5 of his ebooks away, because the ebooks are pretty cheaper than the hard copy books, because that I feel like that book is an important book. And again, we have to teach our people how to create and produce. And again, we must go back to writing. Our ancestors, when we look at Sheikh Anta Diop, we look at Theophile Banga, we look at John Henry Cogg, we look at Aisha Hilliard, we look at Dr. Ben, and we look at John and BT. We look at all these writers, a lot of these ancestors. And I can keep going on, but they was writers at a time period. They was writing, they was producing books, and they was telling our story from our own worldview. And somewhere down the line, we have lost that. So we have to get back into producing our own works. And a lot of us just don't know where to start. So now we created a platform where we showing you how to start, the ins and outs of creating a book. And I think what Sean's next book is definitely important book. And Brother Keith has numerous of books. I'm gonna run them off real quick that he has published. Malady, a survival story, surviving cancer addiction. We ran through that a little bit. Confession of the Incarcerated, the faces and voices of men, some surviving time, some doing life. The revelation of a new era, good versus evil, a new world order, the return of man, book 1. The reality of money.
That's not my book.
Which one? The reality of money?
Oh, that's another Keith Nickerson. I know who that is.
Which one?
The reality of money.
Okay. I'm sorry. That is not his book, y'all. I'm sorry. I definitely got Keith Nickerson down here. Okay, so
when you pull up Keith Nickerson books, he come up in there. Keith Joseph Nickerson or something.
Yeah, normally, and I thought I clicked on them, because each book that I clicked on Amazon, I made sure I was able to click on the name. so I can show the face. So each one book I clicked on, it always showed your picture on there. So that might have been a book I just missed. It was late too last night when I was doing this. So just correct me if I'm wrong if it's not. The Key Togo sagas, the sagas go from 1 all the way to 35. I said 24 is to 35. Those are his children books. He explained a couple of those books. Very powerful book, teaching kids to do the right thing, teaching them life lessons. The Silent Screen trilogy, part 1, A Complete Fear, the beginning, the classic westerns, The Winning of Freedom, The Bachelor, The Player Diary. That's your one, ain't it?
Yeah, that's a classic book. That's the Player Diary.
Okay.
Book, aka a rule book.
Okay.
That's an urban comedy.
Okay. The Bachelor, The Player Diary, How to Book the Rule, aka the Rule Book, The Player's Guide to Navigation. The Coolest and the Cool Guys, The Beginning Journey, The Way We Were, A Historical Chronology by Mr. Keith Joseph Nickerson. The Hidden Ontology, part 1, Discovery, What is lost must be found. So these are some fire book. I'm gonna have to put that in my
Black spin on Harry Potter.
I'm gonna have to put that in there too. The Me in the Mirror, a 30-day journey challenge of self-care and self-reflection. Oh no. That's okay. I see it. I got it in here. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got the names in here. This is Miss LaShonda Trevor Brown, Miss LaShonda. So I'm sorry, that's not his.
But Kofi, you know why that is though? You're gonna see another guy in mine too named Fred Warren. We help those people publish those books.
Okay. I'm sorry. Like I said, it was late last night. I was a little bit.
They're gonna affiliate with me because of that. Through KDP, I introduced them. I made the KDP page and everything. Okay. This in here, Meet Freeman Jane, who will inherit Miss Meeks. That's your. That's a prequel to the Silent Screen trilogy.
Okay. So those are a long list of some of Brother Keith Nickerson books. Again, you can find it on Amazon.com, but we're going to definitely get the information where you can get the books directly through Keith. So let's support Keith and all of his intellectual property, his creativity. Let's support him. We got to support each other. We got to support each other. So again, if the list of the names that I gave, they are down in the description below. So you can see Brother Keith books. And if you want to acquire those books, again, when I end the show, I'll go back and re-edit the description. And once I get the information, I'll give you the information on where you can also get the book directly from our good elder, because he is our great elder. He's a master author. So we definitely want to support him. And before I go real quick, y'all give me 1 second. I got to promote this as well. All right. Sorry about that. I'm back.
Well, do your business. You understand that. I respect that.
Yeah. Also, we gotta plug our works as well. Make sure I got everything over here while I ran over there. Okay. So if you don't have Spirits of the Mossy Volume 1, please go and get Spirits of the Mossy, a historical survey in the minds of African warrior scholars by Kofi Piesie Research Team, presented by the Mossy Warrior Clan. This is a great piece of work. Please go and get this book if you hadn't got this book. If you already got this book, we greatly appreciate you. This book is already in 3 schools in Africa over there. It's in the Gambia area. It is the Gay and Journal Skills Academy. Also, go look their like page up on Facebook. The school that's in Gambia, the Gay and Journal Skills Academy. Also, if you don't have this,
Spears of the Mossy.
Yeah, Spears of the Mossy.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I'm gonna send you a copy, Brother Keith.
Okay. All right.
Also, if you don't have, this is volume 2, From Spears to Pens, a historical survey in the minds of African warrior scholars, volume 2. it is on its way to Gambia right now in West Africa to the Gay and Journal Skills Academy. And we have a lot of footage on that one, like we did on the first one. And the first one was revolved around a writing essay where some of the students was able to win money. This volume 2 will be a worldwide, so it won't be just in the Gambia area. It'll be a few places close to the Gambia area in Africa when they do a worldwide writing essay on From Spears to Pen. So if you don't have this copy of volume 2, please go get the copy of volume 2. Also be on the lookout. Black Friday, we will be releasing volume 3, spiritual. That's not spiritual, but spiritual. We use the word spirit because spirit metaphorically was used. Well, spirit was created 400,000 years by man, was used to hunt with, and they began to hunt for food. Then they used it to defend themselves against the wild beasts and then against their enemy. So we're using the spirit metaphorically to fight misinformation and to fight pseudoism. So we are fighting a lot of misinformation that they are teaching us in the school systems, and other different places. So we greatly appreciate that. We also, if you hadn't got One Night Before Bed, this is by Any Haret Sean Calfunny. This is also a member of Masi Warrior Clan and Kofi Piesie Research Team, and it is up under the Kofi Piesie Research Team and Masi Warrior Clan imprint that we publishing, where we publish all of our brands up under this imprint. So this is One Night Before Bed. So this is a great children book. It has a coloring book at the back of the book, and it has has a questionnaire for the kids at the end of the book. So go get that. We greatly appreciate you if you already didn't support it. Also, I have my book, Kalawan's Trip to the Motherland, the African Education in Music and Instrument by myself, Kofi Piesie. And it is also published up under our imprint of Kofi Piesie Research Team and Masi Warrior Clan imprint. So go get this book. It is a great piece of work about an 11-year-old Gullah Geechee girl who goes to Africa, goes to multiple places in Africa, and falls in love with music and with instruments, and she learns about different culture in Africa. And it also is a great read for those adults as well, but it is targeted for 8 to 13 years old. So if you hadn't got the book, please go buy the book right now. You can go get all 4 publications on KofiPiesieTV.com. Again, that is KofiPiesieTV.com, or you can go to Amazon.com and get them. We prefer you buy them from off of us, but if you go to Amazon.com and get them, we greatly appreciate that too as well. Brother Keith, you got any last words for the listening audience before we end the show?
Yes, I want to say first, thank you to the Kofi Piesie Research Team and yourself, Kofi, just for having me on. I want to also pay it forward and thank Mr. Jonathan Polidor for networking and allowing me the opportunity to get introduced to you. Thirdly, your crew that has some questions for me, I want to tell the gentleman, thank y'all. Thank y'all for quizzing my brain and giving me something challenging to respond to. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. And it's an honor, man. Like I told you, man, we was excited about having you on the show, man. It was a honor, man, for you coming on the platform, man. And we greatly appreciate you for coming on because, you know, I know your time is valuable. You know, you don't like to do nothing but write. You don't want to fool with nobody. You just want to write. You want to be left alone. Left alone and write. So we appreciate, man, you taking a little time out, man. In your giveaway project, I'm gonna send you something. I'm gonna send you a couple of projects you can give away too. Okay, no problem. I'm ready. And any other brother from the Kofi Piesie Research Team, y'all got any last words or something before we end the show?
Yeah, that's a tap. I just want to again say thank you for coming on the show. It was definitely nice having an author of your master caliber. You know, this is definitely boost our show up and help us out and get the word out about you. You know, some people may have not known about you. I know I was one of them. So, you know, and I like the Edgar Allan Poe reference as well. So, you know, I'll be looking into getting some of your work, and I like how you're a diverse author as well, to where you don't specifically focus on one thing. You know, you got books about the future. You got you cover a lot of the genres in your book. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Any other brother got anything? A statement, last words? Brother T'Challa, Sutek.
Again, appreciate you, brother Nickerson, for coming on and spending your time with us.
Thank y'all for having me.
Say it again.
Thank y'all for having me. I'm honored.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. Like Brother Satep said, Arthur of your magnitude is very appreciative over here on this side. We appreciate the work and the effort you put into all of your projects, and hopefully the people will too. So thank everybody else in the chat for coming on and kicking it with us, man. Y'all could have been anywhere, but y'all here with us. And this was a great show, very informative. Hopefully, I was dropping some links in the chat. Hopefully, some of the people pick up some of your projects. And again, we appreciate you for coming on. This was a very enjoyable show.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give Kofi some contact information. Y'all ever want to contact me and looking forward to getting any of my projects? I'm gonna give Kofi my contact info. Y'all let me know, and I'll definitely forward it.
Yes, we definitely gonna spread it. Brother T'Challa, you got anything? T'Challa still on here? Brother T'Challa, I think he dropped off. What about you, Brother Vasa? If you on here, if you back on here, you got anything? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and end the broadcast. I guess he's still off. I want to say again, we appreciate everybody that tuned in, those that tuned in for a few, popped off, those that stayed the whole duration of the time. We greatly appreciate you. Like my brother said, y'all could have been doing anything else with your time, but y'all set aside a few hours or an hour or 15 minutes or 20, whatever you did. We'll greatly appreciate that. So we want to say Madupe. Madupe just means thank you. I started the show with ETM Hotel. So ETM Hotels means welcome in peace. So I want to leave the show and I want to say Shemim Hotel. Shemim Hotel means to depart in peace. So you came in peace. So now we want you to depart in peace. Again, we thank y'all. Brother Keith, we greatly thank you again for coming on our platform and dropping some of this great information and sharing your books with us and us learning from you. And I hope that what he shared, it sparked and motivated someone to get up and just, like he said, like the Nike check says, just do it. Just get up and do it. Again, I want to say peace. Black African Power, and we'll see y'all next time on the author's perspective. And we out of here. Peace, y'all.
Peace.